Global Press urges President Trump to curb police violence against journalists covering U.S. protests. Members of the World Association of News Publishers demanded thorough investigations into more than 400 attacks on media professionals.
Here's a summary of the article.
News publishers from around the world are urging United States President Donald Trump to show unwavering support for a free press and condemn the attacks on journalists covering protests triggered by the death of Mr. George Floyd in police custody. In a joint letter dated Friday, members of the World Association of News Publishers demanded thorough investigations into more than 400 attacks on media professionals related to the coverage of the protests against police brutality and in support of social justice following Mr. Floyd's death on May 25. The attacks were reported to the U.S. Press Freedom Tracker, a nonpartisan online resource that documents press freedom violations in the United States. His last words, "I can't breathe," quickly became the slogan of a string of protests against racism and police brutality that ignited in cities across the U.S. Some of these protests turned violent as looters ravaged stores and law enforcers deployed tear gas on the crowd. NBC News journalist Ed O, who has experience reporting civil unrest in the Middle East, Ukraine and Iraq, was covering demonstrations in Minneapolis on May 30 when he was tear-gassed, pepper-sprayed and beaten with police baton while standing out of the way of the police. The letter to Mr. Trump, initiated by Juan IFRA President Fernando de Yarza López Madrazo as well as World Editors Forum President and Singapore Press Holdings English, Malay, Tamil Media Group Editor-in-Chief Warren Fernandez, is co-signed by 20 national member associations and 45 individual publishers, CEOs, editors-in-chief and senior media executives from around the world. Reminding the U.S. President of constitutional guarantees protecting the freedom of the press, the letter urges Mr. Trump to reaffirm America's historical commitment to a free press clearly and unambiguously, so that it is heard across the country and may resonate around the world.
This post received a score of 49,000, with an upvote ratio of 89%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
400? I thought 20 to 30 plus. Damn, 23 of those in my city. We should organize and express our displeasure of these attacks as a group.
There have been protests in NYC non-stop, homie. I drove through one and cheered as they passed on my way home from work yesterday. The coverage from the US media is simply fading away due to public boredom.
I think he was being sarcastic because there's already so many protests.
Sarcasm is so hard to catch online without an S-mark lol.
Yeah, that sarcasm was so hard to catch, S.
If you have to tag S, you're not doing it right.
Was that sarcasm?
No, but this is S. Media urges Trump to curb violence against the media, who he has repeatedly described as the enemy. Good luck with that, I suppose it can't hurt to ask.
Lol, I bet Donnie loves police abuse.
He is on record as being very fond of it. Please don't be too nice. The worst part is the crowd's reaction.
Pretty well establishes that we have to be wary of these people who intend to harm us and the media.
This discussion alone covers several of the 14 defining characteristics of fascism.
Damn. Going down the list you can see modern examples of almost everyone. Biggest issue is if someone tried to do something about the rampant corruption, they'd be blackballed or killed.
How do you think fascists gained control throughout history?
Apathy.
This is actually correct. One of the foremost experts in the field of fascism studies said that you can't have fascism until a democratic state begins to believe democracy can't solve the state's problems and becomes apathetic to participating.
They teach this in German high school. You don't need a fascism expert for that. We had a whole world war about it. America's rich people have been working for years on pushing the belief that participating is pointless and everything is decided by the deep state anyway, and how people should demand to get the right person in to create their own deep state instead. It's happening right in the open.
In a country all about freedom, you would assume that covered freedom of the press. Am I the only one thinking "land of the free" had to have been an ironic statement when first said about a country built on slavery?
Well, who do you think the freedom was for, the people not even allowed to vote initially?
And now voting has been made pretty much useless. It's the corporations that are enjoying freedom and their voices heard by the government.
Money worship is the demise of this country. I hope to see all of the power-tripping child rapists on Capitol Hill get what's coming to them.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to Speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.